What are you still doing online? How do you know that I'm even real anymore? This could all be generated by AI. And all the information that the internet can provide you, unless you are really fortunate and happen to find something that the algorithm doesn't want you to see. But everything else, everything that has reach or that goes viral, is likely only to be part of a construct. All of the internet, the web, the information that comes to you and that comes to a lot of people is driven by an algorithm. And now with artificial intelligence, the amount of control that our systems have for what you know, what you hear and what you see is unbelievable. Nothing goes viral, in my opinion, organically on the web. And as we saw over the course of the pandemic, it seems that now even actual viruses and pandemics are not organic. Going online now, and this has been true long before AI, is the equivalent to partaking of the forbidden fruit. The fruit of knowledge. I come back to the story of the Garden of Eden often. And there are so many meanings to it. And I think one of the messages that seems to be most overtly ignored is the fact that this fruit that you weren't supposed to take a bite out of, was the fruit of knowledge. In other words, it's the pursuit of knowledge and knowing, the eye, to see, to have your perceptions penetrate beyond the obvious, that distances you from your innocence. The more you know, the less naive, the less innocent, the less childlike you become. And we're all familiar with that moment when Jesus was asked, "How should we be?" And he said, "Be like this child." And what he was talking about was be like you once were when in the Garden of Eden, before God expelled you. And it makes me wonder if the entire project that is the gospel was an attempt to recreate the Garden of Eden, was an attempt to bring man and woman back into a state of innocence. And I think to a great extent it did for a lot of people. And the gospel has borne many fruits, many religions. I mean, even within Christianity, it's had thousands of sects within it. And in my opinion, Islam is a branch of, is basically like Christianity rebranded for the Arabian world. And there's other faiths, like Mormons and Baha'is and all sorts of faiths that have emerged in the last 2,000 years that, in my opinion, are just branches off of this attempt to want to bring woman and man back into a bubble, a protective bubble of innocence, where they are largely ignorant of most of the machinations of reality. And it presents that presents a dilemma for me, because on the one hand I agree that life would be far better if we were all innocent and oblivious, and on the other hand I devote much of my time in life to the pursuit of knowledge, and perhaps worse still, to the divulging and the teaching and the expression and the conveying of knowledge to others. Am I really doing good work by even doing that? Or am I the snake? Am I the snake offering the forbidden fruit? Are we all that snake? All of us online trying to teach or trying to learn, are we perpetuating the fall? To an extent, I think it's folly to believe that after we left the garden that there was ever any ability to go back. It's almost like, to an extent, the gospel was itself a rebellion, or an attempt to go back into the garden, or to gaslight ourselves into believing that we could go back into the garden, even though God had expelled us and put impenetrable security in front of those gates. And so here we are outside of the garden as a fallen species, trying to come up with all these systems, whether they be religions or governmental systems or groups or cliques or clans or cults, whatever your thing is, your Magic the Gathering get together, meet up. All these little mini pretend Garden of Edens that put us inside of a bubble of delusion and help us feel safe, so that we don't have to confront the truth. Because once you exit the garden, you see things the way they are. And as a species, we have still not taken responsibility for leaving the garden. We are still trying to create layers and layers of metaverses to try to get away from what it's like to be out of the garden. And I'm of the opinion that we need to take responsibility. That it is within responsibility that we can learn our lesson. It is only by accepting fault and taking full responsibility that we can learn the lesson of the fall. And within this fallen state, we can find our place again as children of God. So I have a very peculiar relationship with the gospel. On the one hand, I feel there's an enormous amount of divine inspiration that is communicated through it. I also think over the years it's been poison pilled by the institutions that have been in charge of shepherding the preservation of this knowledge and have changed things. I get the sense that things have been changed to make certain teachings more convenient for the authorities that shepherded the knowledge. Because Jesus never came to start a church. He came to flip the tables of those churches and tell people there is no access to God other than through Him. And when he says Him, he's referring to His Word. Not a priest, not a preacher, not a big temple or building. Really? Your sins are going to be forgiven if you go and confess to some guy in a robe? So I have a very peculiar relationship with the gospel. It's a very direct relationship, but I also know that I am in a fallen state. I am a descendant of a fallen people. And all I can do in my life is do what I can to raise the banner of responsibility within this fallen state. Not look back to God with anger or resentment, but accept that I am here because of my choices. And therefore, grapple with the consequences of that and deal with it head on, looking at things like they are and not pretending like there's something they're not. Videos like this will never go viral. You know, the earth was once subject to the algorithm of satanic forces. But now, this weird twist, it is now subject to the algorithm of men, of artificial intelligence. And I feel that through the advent of AI, even merit has been rendered without value. Because again, how do you know that this discourse is even real? Now anybody can put themselves in front of a camera or a fabricated avatar and portray the illusion of coherence or competence. Soon, everything that is online will be suspect. And your quest for knowledge will reside probably where it always fundamentally has, which is in the relationship you have, your personal relationship with your Creator. But even that is being sabotaged with inoculations and drugs and genetic engineering and this evil forces, even trying to sabotage your ability to access truth by looking inward. So take care of yourself. Protect yourself. Don't let anything penetrate this barrier. Nothing, at least, that would be hurtful. Thanks for watching.